Laura, welcome along to Getting to Know More About. It's great to have you with us today. How are you?
Very good, thank you. It's really great to be here and to just be chatting to you and getting a chance to sort of explore in a bit more detail.
We're obviously in the summer at the moment. Are you quieter in the summer, or are clients dragging you away from sunbathing in your back garden?
Oh, chance would be a fine thing, wouldn't it? No, summer actually tends to be really, really busy. I think what happens is a lot of people want to gear up their businesses ready for September. Everybody else goes on holiday and it's a really good time for getting everything prepared, so working on marketing strategies. So yeah, traditionally summer is quite a busy time, so I've got to try and kind of weave a little bit of a break in and amongst, but it's not too bad at the moment. I think things are a little bit more sluggish just because COVID's having a big impact on sort of business owners, and people have had a lot of staffing issues and those kind of things. So it's just nice and steady at the moment.
You're obviously an outsourced marketing director, and there's a lot of posts recently on LinkedIn, especially where there's companies and individuals pushing the personal brand narrative, saying it's the best thing you can do as a business owner is to actually push your personal brand. But then I also see posts from very successful business owners saying, well, it's not necessarily the best thing to do, because if your business actually creates or delivers really good service, that is pretty much that's pretty much all you need. What's your take on the personal brand scenario? Should a business owner take it on board and concentrate fully on their personal brand and all the benefits that could bring?
It's one of those questions that it really depends. I would say most businesses would benefit from the leaders of their organization developing their own personal brand, being like really visible out there, working out, their values, what they stand for, and making sure that they promote that. And if you think about some of the biggest businesses out there, Apple, Virgin, you think about the people right at the head, they have developed amazing personal brands. We know their stories, we know what they stand for, and it aligns with their organization. Now, if you're a business owner who has sort of really is kind of a large organization and is all about promoting your products and service, it may not be as important to have a strong personal brand. But if you're a business owner whereby you're selling your services, maybe you're in professional services, so you're an accountant or you're an estate agent, so actually sort of connecting with people is really, really important, or you're a consultant or you're responsible for sales in some way, connecting with people, then you can't really sort of emphasize enough how important personal brand is. But I'd say it's always really key to work out your brand message as a business alongside your personal brand and ensure that there's some kind of continuity between the two, and that you're not sort of damaging one with the other. So if you've got a really strong kind of humorous personal brand, you're quite kind of, willing to sort of really push the envelope or say controversial things, yet you've got kind of a really staid, safe business brand, then the two may not work very well together.
Good to know that you're sitting on the fence for that one, but everybody's got a great opinion, and I think the debate will go on and go on from both sides. Kind of following on from that, what is the kind of difference then between a marketing strategy and a brand strategy? This kind of terminology is often brought up by marketers, marketing directors, etc., and there could be a few blurred lines in there. So what is the difference between the two?
Well, the simplest way to think about it is marketing is really every element of your business. So essentially, marketing strategy and business strategy are very much the same thing. So marketing is about how you communicate with all your customers, identifying who your customers are, where you're going to generate revenue. So it's very, very broad-based. It's about how you're going to grow, how you're going to keep your existing customers, very broad, but then it also deals with obviously the marketing tactics within there. So looking at website, looking at your PR strategy, your events, all those tactics, and brand is a part of that. So brand strategy could sometimes be a subsection of marketing strategy. So the difference with brand strategy is that brand is all about perceptions. So you were talking earlier about, personal brand, services, products, business brand. Brand is about really trying to understand your ideal customer and the perceptions that they have currently and the ones that you would like them to have. So the reasons they may object, so they may sort of not choose you, the reasons they would choose you, how you want them to feel. So it's all those kind of touchy-feely things before you get into the sort of exterior of a brand, which is how you look. So the logo, the colours that you choose, the imagery, the video, everything that's sort of visual, and also the written messages. So brand strategy is all about perceptions, how you want people to feel so that they choose you, whereas marketing captures sort of every element of not just marketing, but business and how you will become a success.
What is a brand transformation then?
So yeah, brand transformation is a big part of what I do. So it's when an organization usually have had an element of success. So perhaps they've been going a few years, maybe they're 5 years old, 10 years old, even longer. They've developed a brand in the initial stages and they've experienced a certain amount of growth. And now they're ready to go up to the next level. So as I was talking about earlier on with brand is like an egg. So you have the exterior that people can see. So they're things like the logo and the imagery and colours and messages. And then inside are the perceptions that you want to create. So the values, that you want to actually get out there to the organization. So a brand transformation is when we're taking a brand from A, where it is now, to B. So it's usually around sort of changing perceptions and usually comes with an amount of revenue growth or an achievement that they want to actually get to. So it's about understanding where they are now, what the current perceptions are, where the brand needs to be, what the sort of new perceptions need to be, and then changing all the elements of the visual and written identity so that the ideal customer understands this difference and wants to choose them time and time again, therefore achieving the results that they wanted to achieve, whether it be revenue growth, number of customers, subscribers, it could be awards, it could be anything really that's kind of results driven, that's driving that brand transformation. But it's a really interesting part of what I do, and often starts with insight, so sort of really trying to understand what the customer perceptions are now, so that we can then transform them and measure them and make sure we achieve that success through all the marketing touch points.
So when you bring a new client on board, or you're working with existing clients, does this kind of happen organically, or is it actually planned? So when you sit down and strategize of where you want the client to be in 2, 3, 5 years, yeah, do you actually put a signpost in the road, so to speak, and say, look, in 3 or 4 more years, we will attain this much growth. So then by that time, you need to then transform, or do you just let it happen organically?
It's very much results driven, and it's about putting in place those measurables. So, what can we measure? And often the easy things to measure are things like, revenue, number of customers, those kind of things, and making sure that everything we do is aligned to that. So there's a brand transformation plan, which gets them from A to B, and that we measure that at different points through the journey to make sure we're going in the right direction. There's also the things that are a little bit harder to measure, such as perceptions, and the easy way to do that, I mentioned insight. So often what we'll do is do an element of customer insight. So we'll do surveys, we'll could do mystery shopping, we can do sort of telephone interviews, those kind of things, and ask a number of questions about their existing perceptions. And then after the given time, maybe it's 3 years down the line, 2 years down the line, 5, we ask those questions again, so we can actually measure the distance traveled and check that perceptions have shifted from the brand transformation that we've actually carried out. And that's a really interesting thing, because you can then see, yes, we've achieved X, Y, and Z, or you can then find that actually there are a couple of things here that we still need to tweak. And we can, put some campaigns in place, or make sure we're emphasizing some elements of our messaging or branding to make sure we really do get there in the desired time frame.
So who is your ideal client? We've all kind of got inside our heads our ideal clients and the kind of industry they work in. Where do you work best, and who do you work best with?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, because that's one of the things I always ask all of my clients to have a good think about. So industry-wise, really, I work with a lot of professional services, estate agents, accountancy firms, membership organisations. They're the kind of three areas that I primarily focus on. And in terms of ideal client, they're always business owners with high desire to grow the business. Usually don't have a marketing director in-house, usually don't have a marketing team in-house, although sometimes there will be, say, a marketing exec or a marketing manager, and they will be established to some point, so they will have achieved a certain amount of success but be ready to take the next step. So they're often those that have high growth aspirations but don't quite have the in-house knowledge and expertise to be able to do it, or often the time, to be honest. My ideal clients are always owner managers. They're busy doing the day job, and therefore know that they want to get the organization to the next level but don't have the time and skill set in-house. So they'll turn to somebody like myself, who will then develop the strategy and work out exactly what they need to do and deliver everything for them as well, which is the key part. Not necessarily within Yorkshire, but I love to support Yorkshire organisations, but always UK based. I think that's about it. Yeah, they're my ideal clients and the sectors that I typically work in.
What's the one piece of business advice you could give a business owner today that will get them results tomorrow?
It's a great question. So I think if I was just going to say one thing, I would say get really, really clear on your ideal client or customer. And it's not just about kind of understanding, where they're based, their income, who they are, those kind of things. It's really about getting under the skin of why they would choose that organization, why they would choose their competitor over you, where they spend their time, what they value most, how much time they have. Because by doing that and to really kind of personify one ideal customer and to get under their skin and start thinking about how they might think and feel, and even better if you can ask clients so you can get kind of real proper knowledge based on fact. But if you can't do that, just to take some time just to think about it, that then allows you to first of all really focus. So don't invest your time and effort into marketing that is not really appealing to your ideal client. Just focus on that ideal client, but get your messages right. And it could just take, a couple of little tweaks. I always say kind of, a 1-2% improvement in a couple of areas will make a massive, massive difference. So that would be my suggestion, would be just to get really, really clear on, that ideal customer. And I've got like a little sheet. If anybody wanted to get that, then you can just drop a message through to you or myself. That just gets that really, really clear, thinking about those questions that you should be asking about your ideal client, and then print it out and just stick it in front of you and make sure every marketing decision you make is based around, is this going to convert, engage, retain more of that individual person? And if the answer is yes, it's worth our time and effort. And if the answer is no, ditch it and focus on something else.
Sound advice. Thank you very much indeed. So if anybody does actually want to contact you or find out more about you and your business, where should they go?
They can go to my website, which is all the W's, wearecircle.co.uk, or drop me an email, which is laura@wearecircle.co.uk.
Laura Pegg, thank you very much indeed for being a great guest on Getting to Know More About. Have a great rest of the summer, and fingers crossed September and onwards will be even more productive. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It's been great.